You know, I think it's time I make another video on Smite. Guess I should grab some footage first.
Welcome to Summoner's Rift.
What? This isn't Smite! Alright, let's try it again. That's Dota! The hell is happening?
That's fucking Candy Crush! Where the shit is this game?
What? What the fuck? Smite is one of my favorite games of all time, so naturally I feel the need to share it with you guys. Ever since I made my first video of the top 10 best gods in Smite a few months ago, it's been highly requested that I make another one for Season 2. So naturally, here is my top 10 best gods for Smite in Season 2.
To preface this list, I have to say that this idea of the best gods is completely subjective to me. They are the best gods for me to play, meaning they are either really fun or I routinely perform well with them. This may not carry over to you, so take everything on here with a grain of salt. Another rule is that no one from my first list of the best gods can be on here to make this more diverse. So if you don't see a god on here that you really think should have been present, Bologna, then maybe you should go check the first list out. Please keep in mind that certain gods may have some weird-ass pronunciations to their name that my American ass will sometimes mispronounce, so just be forewarned. Also, it's not just limited to the gods released in Season 2, it's any gods that I haven't covered before, so here's my Season 2 for the top 10 best gods in Smite. So to start off this list, I decided it was right time to be indecisive again. At our number 10 spot, we will be observing another split in choice just like last time.
So instead of hunters, this time we're airing a little bit more on the magical side of things. That's right, this spot goes to Cronus and Nox.
These two gods are very different, but they each excel in their own special way. Cronus, on one hand, is a god that specializes in kiting around enemies with his high movement speed and whittling them down with basic attacks and abilities that stun and slow. His second ability also works in tandem with his passive, and when activated, it gives him one of four things: regenerated health, abilities that cost no mana, increased power on abilities, or increased power on basic attacks, making Cronus a very versatile god. He can also revert time, so yeah, he's pretty badass. While on the other hand, Nox focuses more on high burst damage and being able to silence and root her enemies. Her 1 and 2 can be used in tandem to make her a devastating punish, and her 3 can be used to chase or kill if need be, but her ultimate is what takes the cake, because if you're proficient with it, you can have a blast bowling down your enemies.
Either of these gods make for an incredible mage pick for any team. And to think, this is only the first spot on this list. You know, what's the worst pick I could put on here for this list? I guess I'll have to go to the Alfredo Wheel of Wonder. Well, shit.
So whenever Ratatoskr was initially released, he was pretty decent, but any ability he had in combat was dwarfed by the fact that he's a freaking floating rat that shoots acorns. What could be more demoralizing than being taken down by someone who spouts off this phrase every 30 seconds? I was downright infatuated with this god when he was released, because, well, look at him. Other than that, he has also gotten some incredibly nice skins, such as the Ratatoskr skin, and even his tier 1 isn't that bad. Rata might have gotten hit pretty hard with the nerf hammer a few weeks after release, but that's beside the point.
He may do less than 0 damage, but the important thing here is that you get to play as a rat. And honestly, what more could you ask for from a video game? Every game needs a poster boy. There's the greats like Mario, Sonic, Bubsy. So who might it be for Smite? Some might say it's Zeus. Well, Zeus isn't on this list. So in this case, it's Thor.
Thor is one of the most solid and consistent assassins in the game, and he is one of the most well-rounded gods overall. He has a solid engaging ability, a formidable stun, and a very nice area of effect for clearing minions or pesky gods. His ability to teleport to his hammer, Mjolnir, allows him to escape and engage in very interesting ways, along with Thor's ult, which allows him to rain down from the sky to crush whoever might be so unfortunate to be underneath him at the time. Truly making this god a challenging foe to deal with and a valuable asset on any team. Also, this tier 5 skin kicks ass.
Let me preface this entry by saying cockroaches and beetles are some of the most abhorrent animals on this earth. Seriously, there's nothing worse than these goddamn things. So let me put this horrifying thought in your mind. A gigantic beetle that, when killed, just comes right back for you to run amok in your bathroom and just overall be a torment. That's exactly what Khepri is.
Khepri is undoubtedly one of the best supports in the game due to his nice variety of damaging abilities, CC-intensive maneuvers, and his life-saving ult, which can prove useful for some amazing plays and positioning. He's a pivotal god to have in a teamfight due to all the versatility he has. And even after that, Khepri still has the scare factor of seeing a huge monstrosity of a god charge down duo lane at you, all while throwing giant balls of solar shit. Smite's a pretty cool game.
Imagine taking Sonic the Hedgehog and removing every one of his spines. What do you think you would get? Well, probably a couple months in jail and a few rocks thrown at your house by PETA, but what you should actually get is Mercury.
Mercury is the Roman messenger god, and whenever you need a package delivered, he is right there to blast off with his speedy moves to get it to you. Merc focuses heavily on movement and critical strike damage that can make him an incredibly powerful late-game jungler. He has several moves that can move him far distances and place crowd control on enemies. He also has some very powerful basic attacking abilities, especially when buffing himself with his second ability. Also, you want to tell me where the One Punch Man skin is for this guy? Because that would be kick-ass.
Overall, Merc is just a great pick for any jungler, or anybody that wants to use Sonic speed.
So tell me, have you ever been stuck in a team fight with nowhere to go? Well then I've got just the god for you, Janice. Janice has a kit that allows him to travel just about anywhere he wants, from the home fountain to Fire Giant, or America to Uzbekistan. Janice can traverse just about any lands he could encounter. Travel agencies hate him and physicists everywhere question how the hell he can even do it. But it's better not to question it and instead just start teleporting you and your team to victory. See? Now you're thinking with portals.
So in this game we've seen floating rats, dubstep, portal characters, and a giant mech beetle. You would have think you've seen it all, until Hi-Rez revealed one of the newest and best gods in the game, a Norse fire lady.
Sol is undisputedly one of the best gods in the game. She has a passive that makes her into a near ADC style god, yet she has all the potential of being a burst mage and is really just the best of both worlds. All of her abilities feed into her passive, which increases her attack damage and attack speed. However, it decreases over time, but can be kept very high by managing abilities well. Her first ability also acts as a heal, her third ability is an incredibly powerful escape, and her second ability gives huge amounts of burst damage. Her ult is really the only thing lacking in her kit, simply because everything else is so stellar. There is a reason she is banned in almost every ranked game after all. So you ever do that thing where you squeeze your belly button to make it look like a face and then make it talk? Well, that's all I can really use to describe Jing. Jing is one of the most interesting gods that have been added to this game recently, and he really shows off the fact that versatility was the name of the game for gods added in Season 2.
Jing is capable of running amok in any solo lane, coupled with the fact that he can disrupt any team fight with his ult. He can also dish out some insane damage at his higher levels.
He may be as big as Ymir, but he has some of the craziest maneuverability of any Guardian. Along with some nice damage over time abilities and stacks on his healing, Jing can make some of the most impressive plays for a guy that doesn't even have eyes. Now if I'm being honest, I would have much preferred for his ultimate to be him biting onto someone's head with his stomach mouth like Wario from Super Smash Bros., but I guess we can't get everything we want in life.
After I made my first top 10 best gods in Smite video, I quickly discovered some more gods that I fell in love with immediately, and I fell hard for Isis.
Well, I'm definitely going on some government list for saying that. Isis is an Egyptian god that is widely regarded as one of the best mid laners in the game. She can cover all of her ends with her wide variety of self-buffs and crowd control techniques that range from stuns to silences coupled with slows, a self-buff where she increases speed while sending out powerful orbs of light, and an ultimate that can shatter enemies' health bars whilst healing you and your teammates. While Isis is a powerful god, she also has incredible control over teamfights, and is really just an asset on any team.
While Isis may be one of the best gods to play, she isn't always the most fun, and nothing can top the amount of fun that I have with the number one god on this list.
So for the longest time, I had always hated the role of ADC. Honestly, it always seemed incredibly boring to me. That was until I tried a very certain god.
I had dabbled in several different hunters for a time. Apollo, Amu's and Cobb, that pair of breasts. But none of them ever really seemed to click for me, which was true until I played the 7th avatar of Vishnu, Rama.
Rama is certainly my favorite ADC and one of my favorite gods in Smite. He is incredibly powerful when it comes to dominating a lane and keeping minions at bay. He has abilities that all center around hitting basic attacks and crippling your opponent until you whittle them down to 0 health. He passively builds astral arrows until he has a stack of 5, which can be fired with his 1 and pierce all enemies and slow. This can be used in time with his second ability, which increases his attack speed. And if need be, Rama can make a quick escape using his third ability, allowing him to roll away from danger. And nothing is more satisfying than taking an enemy down with his ultimate, which is a volley of arrows, which each become progressively more difficult to hit but also do more damage.
While Rama is a very strong competitor in the world of team building and competitive play, he is above all fun to play. And really, what more could I ask from a god? Well, that was my top 10 best gods in Smite for Season 2. Tell me what you thought down in the comments. Did you agree with my list, or do you hope I die in a fire? Either way, I would love to know about it. Also, if you happen to be new to the channel and you feel like you might want to play some Smite with me sometime, don't be afraid to look down in the description where I have my player name, and you can friend me on Smite and we can play all you want. If you have no idea what Smite is and you just happen to stumble upon this video, then don't be afraid to check down in the description where I have a link to Hi-Res's website where you can download the game. I promise, you won't regret it. It's a great game, and your time will be well spent on it. But on a more serious note, thank you all for the immense support that you've shown me over the past year. I think back to whenever I made my very first Smite video, and I see just how much my channel has grown since then. So thank you all so much for your constant support and dedication to my channel, and I can promise that there will be so much more in 2016. So here's to a happy 2016, and I'll see you next time.